Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Paloma, and today we're going to be looking at my January 31st paycheck. I am outside enjoying some of the sun, trying to wake up. Um, and so excuse any noise that you hear in the background. It is trash collection day, and so they're here in the neighborhood. Look at Maple, isn't she the cutest? Mm. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our paycheck review. All right. So welcome. This is my presentation for today. Our debt has gone down a little bit. We were at 504,800 something, and now we are 504,200 something. So it's gone down a little bit. Now, I did get my paycheck for $2,000, and I did have a rollover of $130. I try to keep at least $100 in my checkings account, just because I don't want to get an overdraft fee. But what I have noticed is that as I'm getting lower and lower and closer to that $100, I stop using my debit card and I switch to my credit card. But then it gets very precarious or in the danger zone because then I'm more likely to swipe the credit card. Upcoming expenses. These are the upcoming expenses that I'm projecting for February. So you'll see the stuff in blue are the things that are going to be covered with this immediate paycheck that I just got. So it is going to be the first of the month tomorrow, and we're going to be paying rent. So I gone ahead and sent that over for 1,400 for my part of it. We do have our energy bill, and that is $83.52. And then I do have a credit card balance of 231 with 47 cents. And so we're gonna take some of that money and just we're gonna pay all of these three things off, which is gonna be a total of 1,714 with 99 that we are removing from our pay. And the things in orange are things that are due in this 2-week pay period that I'm looking at. But they do get charged to my credit card, so I'm not going to be paying them off right now. They are going to be paid off the second half of the month, when I do have a little bit more wiggle room. And so that includes my Cox bill is going to be charged for $59.99. My water bill has been charged for $235.52. And I do have a fee this month. Last month we had a 608, and this month we have an $1,020 fee. And this one is my car insurance. It's sad, but it's there. It's a reality. It's a fee. This is why we have it in our sinking funds for one-time cost. Unfortunately, we just started this year, so we don't have a lot in that sinking fund to be able to cover these. But as we're contributing to it, we'll hopefully be better prepared next year for these fees. And continuing, I'm hoping that my brother does give me his 206 for his contribution. He didn't send me his money last month for his pay for his part of the bills, but I also didn't ask him for it. So how could he know? And I did subtract. He ordered the kickball stuff from Amazon for me because he has Prime and I don't. And so I did subtract that cost. And I did add his part of the bills for this month too. So he'll hopefully send me that, and that'll help with some of this. And then giving for the next 2 weeks, I do foresee $10 to go towards giving. I do have $80 that I'm thinking to go towards food, just like eating out or anything that's food related, including drinks, in the next 2-week pay period. And then I do have a Galentine's dinner that I'm gonna be going to for some friends, and I don't know how much they're planning on spending. I don't know if we're going to be eating at someone's place or if we're going to be going out to eat somewhere else. So I have $50 budgeted max for that, question mark. This is the first time I'm really doing anything with them, with this group of friends. So I don't know how that's gonna play out. I think $50 should be enough for my part. If we do go out somewhere, And then if we do a potluck style thing, it should also be enough. This side is what I'm foreseeing spending in the next 2 weeks, and it falls within the current pay period that we have. I did add other expenses here, and these are expenses to keep in mind that are coming up for the whole month of February that shouldn't be falling in this first pay period, but if they do, I want to make sure that I'm accounting for it. And I like to review just kind of like what expenses am I foreseeing in this coming month, that aren't like a fixed expense that I might be spending on. I did budget a $20 for giving, and so 10 and 10 brings 20. Haven't done laundry. I have like my bed sheets and all of that I need to do, so I'll probably need to go do laundry soon, and that'll be $20. Gas, I just filled up gas this week, so it should not need a refill in the next 2 weeks, but I will need a refill later on in the month. And then food, again, $80. Just continuing the other half of that. And then my tires are apparently in need of change. My coworker saw my front tires and they're like, yeah, you need to get your tires changed. And I was like, what? How do I tell that I need to get my tires changed? And then they showed me that you look at the thread, and or you could put a penny and see Abraham Lincoln's face. If you could see his face, your tires need to be changed. I don't know. He showed me the thread one. So yeah, at some point I need to get those tires changed. And then my back tire backed up on what looks like it's a construction nail. So I don't know where I passed by that I got construction nails on my tire. So I'll have to figure out. At the moment, there's 3 tires that are affected out of the 4 tires I have. So I don't know if that's worth patching up, if it's worth just getting 2 tires. I have to kind of look through Discount Tires and other places to see what the cost is. And I'm estimating $500 for that, for a full 4 tire change and the labor to change those. But I've never had to change my tires, so I don't know what that cost is. And one person told me like that's a lot, and then another person told me that's not enough. It's probably going to be like 800 because of the size of my car. So I'm just like, I don't know. And I try to go to Discount Tires, but I know the make and model. I don't know if it's an XLE whatever. And the back of my car doesn't say it, so I have to look at my. So because that happened and I didn't know I was gonna have to be changing my tires soon, I had planned a trip with my friend. It went from a 1-day trip to Catalina Island, going and coming back, which I was like, all right, I'm comfortable spending $200 for that, to a 3-day weekend trip that includes like getting an Airbnb, paying for like wine tasting and all these other things. Once I saw like, oh, I have to pay my insurance and I have to change my tires and I don't know how much that's gonna be, I was like, oh, I didn't message her and tell her. I did message her and I told her that I could possibly go meet them up for 1 day and maybe stay for one night, and that I wasn't able to spend more than 150 for the like night a hotel thing. So that if they were planning on getting an Airbnb, like, and it just didn't make sense, I can look for like a hotel somewhere that fits closer to my budget. Estimating 250 for that, just because I don't know how much wine tasting costs. So if it's 150 and then another 150 for food and wine, hopefully that's enough. Gifts. I forgot that there's a couple of birthdays in February. And my cousin is her birthday and she has a birthday breakfast this tomorrow that I was going to buy her a gift for, but it sounds like she's sick and we're not having it tomorrow. So I don't know if she's going to reschedule or not, but I need to get her a gift. And then I am part of a group for my church, and 2 of the folks have a birthday they got me a present when it was my birthday, so I feel like I need to get them a gift too. And then my friend who I'm going on this trip with, the whole trip is because it is her birthday. And so I need to get her a gift too. So I budgeted like $80, $20 per gift. And that's really making me think in my savings goal, I have $20 every month that I'm putting towards gifts, but I don't know that that's enough. So the question is, do I add more money into my savings so that I can cover these gift costs? Or do I try to find a way to show those people, hey, I appreciate you. I'm happy that you get to like, spend another year and celebrate, and hopefully you get many more years to celebrate without spending $80 for 4 gifts. I don't know. Questions. And then lastly, it is Valentine's Day. It is a holiday. I have no idea how much we're gonna spend. Last year, my partner and I went to Korean barbecue, and then I don't know what we're planning on doing this year. He hasn't told me the plans yet, and so I'm estimating $75 in case we go out to eat. I forget how much. I think we spent like 100 and something at Korean barbecue. So if we split it plus tip, I think it should be enough. And I also need to figure out what gift to get him. I think I'm gonna do a more homemade gift for that. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm not I haven't settled on one yet. Anyways, so that is the projected expenses for the month. For this specific pay period, I do have enough to meet the things in blue. That's good. If you add up the other expenses and the estimates that I'm putting on them, I don't have enough because if my paycheck is the same as this paycheck, let's say we have $4,000 for the month, this projected expenses would make me go over the $4,000 for that month. And so I need to figure out where I can save some money and where I can cut back. Maybe the thing is that there's nowhere to cut back, and so then I have to pull from my savings, which is fine because I've built an emergency fund. But then it's like just kind of like going back and forth. At least for this pay period, we are good. I will meditate and try to figure out what to do for the other things. I think these two and this one here, and then I'll ask. I think these last four is really where I'm not sure what the costs are. And so just I'm asking, and then same for this one, just kind of like remessaging the folks and figuring out what the plan is to see if 50 is enough. Savings goals. The goal for the quarter is to save $4,250. I do foresee a future sinking funds withdrawal. Again, this is based off of what we just saw from the previous. If I can't get my expenses to balance out for what my pay is going to be, then I will have to draw from my sinking funds. Hopefully I don't, but I do foresee one, at least at the moment in how we stand. I am going to be contributing to my one-time cost of $130, and I am going to be adding $70 to travel. Again, this one is we have a little bit more time, but we are going to be going to Yellowstone, and I'm trying to do river rafting for sure. And so we're going to need money for that. And so the more I can add to it, the better. So I'm not stressed about spending that when we get to that phase. So for this pay period, I am adding $200 towards my savings goals. There's not a lot to do with this paycheck because it is the beginning of the month. Most of it is just going towards like your fixed expenses, like your rent, your bills. I think I'm left with $270 after the expenses we did make. So I'm gonna leave those just to be able to cover just like little things that come up so I don't have $0 in the bank. This is my little budget, me trying to figure out, make numbers, trying to make sure that we're budgeting so that we get success, looking at our receipts, keeping track of all of our coins, everywhere we've been going. taking a look at our calendars and just really making sure that we can balance as much as we can. And so I have done all of that for January. And I also saw room for improvement in how I track my system. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But let's go ahead and jump into a January recap. Looking at our January recap, we spent 1,400 on rent. We paid our internet for $60. We paid our energy bill for $82. We gave $8 towards giving. We spent $95 on gifts. I ended up just taking them to go out to eat. It was my brother and mom's birthday. And then we did have the fee for $608. I did have a balance on my credit card from 2024, and that was a 2,423 balance that we paid off. And we did contribute to our savings, and we contributed 1,820 into that. Oh, I don't think I updated the savings thing on here. But I just gave $100 from today, like our paycheck. So it's going to be added to that. So technically it's still January. And then tomorrow, February 1st, another $100 withdrawal will be taken from my account. Yes, we did contribute that, but technically, depending on when it withdraws, we also contribute another $100. I don't know. Ignore it. But we did have that money allocated towards it. And then for gas, we spent 133 for the month. Food. This one is in orange because it's an estimate. This is where I found the discrepancy in how I'm tracking my spending. I have a category called food, groceries, drinks, like all of that. Anything that has to do with eating out, anything that has to do with grocery shopping, anything that has to do with like any type of drinks, ice cream, etc. Like all of that goes into that category. The problem is that this month I spent on my card and I spent in cash. So I do remember that I was going, as soon as I spent in cash, I would open up my phone and edit the spreadsheet and add in the cash expenses. But I only did 3 like credit card expenses when it came to food. It was still 140 something worth of like credit card spending on food. But then my cash, like there's no other way for me to track it unless I had kept the receipts, which I did not at least not for all of them. And as I was trying to fix that discrepancy of, because I go back, right? I go through my bank statements and just make sure, like, did I capture everything? Maybe like I forgot. And I did figure out that I did miss one for a $50 charge at sushi. And it was just because it wasn't like a normal, it was on a Wednesday night, I think. So it wasn't like a normal thing that is usually a part of my routine. Anyways, but as I was going back, I was like, did I already add this cost? There was a cost there for $33. And it was earlier in the tracking of it. So I didn't know if there was a cost earlier in the month that was $33, and then one that's more recently, like this past weekend, that was for $33, or if it was that I had already like tracked this somehow and so it's a duplicate. But there's one statement in my credit card statement for $33 that falls under the food category, but then there's already one on my like tracker for $33, but it could have been a cash one or not. So I was just kind of like, I have no idea. So I don't know if it's a duplicate or if it's just that it just happened that, I had 2 food expenses that were the exact same, and it's $33 and some change, but it's the exact amount. So I was just like, I don't know. And so I fixed that now. So for February, I have the food category cash and food category card. So that way, as I review, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, this one was the cash and this one was the card. But who knows? My estimate is that I spent 292 on food, and that is including the quote unquote duplicate or not duplicate, who knows. And then for gardening, I spent $83. I did go dancing and I spent $20. I have Tech. And that again is just like my ink subscription for printing and storage for my phone. And then I did host my kickball tournament game. We made it work with the number of people that arrived. We just removed one of the bases. Ended up working. I did spend 178 with 85 because I panicked the morning of and I was like, but what if people show up and they hadn't RSVP'd and I'd rather have more food than no food for them. And so I went and bought an extra packet of patties. And then we didn't even finish the first packet of patties. So I could have gone without that second package of patties. But it's fine. I still stayed with under my budget, which I had given myself a $200 budget. I ended up spending 178 on that. And then my haircut was 35. For the holidays, I just spent 32.98, which is the same. And then work related was the 869. So most of these stayed the same. The ones that ended up changing is the food and the gas. Those are the ones that changed a lot. And then the gifts, we had a question mark. We just didn't know how much was going to be spent. Overall, we ended up spending 2,970 with 56 cents last just on our expenses. Obviously, if you add in the amount that I spent for my credit card and the amount that I put towards my savings, we did come out at a negative of $198 over what I brought in and what I already had rolled over from 2024. That's why I was saying earlier, I think I need to give my credit card to my sister and tell her to hide it from me so I'm not tempted to go use it. In the month of January, how much did we add to my future? And for Roth IRA, I didn't add anything from this month to it. And then retirement, I did add 340 with 47 cents in total from the 3 paychecks that we had this month. So that was added to the retirement account. And then for savings, we did add 1,920. If we do count the $100 transfer that was made today. All right. And that was the predictions of where our money is going to go for this pay period, what we're looking at financially for the month of February that we're going to be starting, and then also like what ended up happening this month of January, where our money went. I'm sad that we did go over the budget and that we spent more than what I brought in. Hopefully we do better this month of February. Thankfully that it wasn't such a devastating thing, which it would have been back when I was not as aware of my finances. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you get a chance to review and reflect on your January spending, and that you got a chance to put, even if it's just $100, $200 into your savings for your future self. And I will see you in the next pay period.